The 2023 MLB offseason has begun, and there are a ton of great free agents available on the market this year. Once again, a really strong free agent class with the opportunity to get even stronger with a couple opt-outs. This is not going to be my prediction video. That video is coming in a few days, where I tell you where I think all the free agents will sign this offseason. Today, I'm just going to be telling you about some of the best free agents available on the market, so you can know a little bit more about what's going on in free agency. So let's get right into this and start with the catcher position. There is one premium catcher available this offseason, and it's Willson Contreras. Willson Contreras had a great season last year in Chicago for the Cubs. Catching, of course, is always going to be the one thing you kind of get a little bit iffy on. His defense is definitely not as good as we once thought it was. He is 100% an offensive first catcher, but he's a good athlete, and I take that behind the plate with my catcher. You're looking at a guy who can give you about 20 homers a year with an OPS right around 800, driving some runs, extra base hit machine. He's just an all-around good player. It's really weird that he's going to be like 31 years old next season, which sounds so crazy for a guy who I still think is a young player, but Willson Contreras, without a doubt, is the best catcher available on the market. That being said, there are still some other exciting catchers available. A guy like Mike Zunino, who had a bad 2022, but as we know, he has the opportunity to be a 30 home run guy with great defense. Gary Sanchez, someone's going to take a risk on him. Someone is. The bat is too strong, or the bat possibility is too high to not take a chance. And then Christian Vasquez is another name I want to throw out there. World Series champion, good defense, solid bat, all-around good catcher. But let's be honest, probably one of the weaker positions in free agency. At first base is kind of where the heat really starts to turn up a bit. I feel like the best or most notable free agent first baseman available right now is going to be Jose Abreu. And I say first base with like quotation marks here because he's probably more of a DH, but he's been playing first base recently. I will admit, it's going to be weird to see Jose Abreu playing somewhere else besides for the Chicago White Sox. And I still think there's a good chance that they bring him back. I mean, he's a lifetime Chicago guy ever since he came from Cuba. And all the guy does is mash. Now, it is worth noting that he did only hit 15 home runs this past year. Something to keep an eye out for, but he averages most of the time 25 homers, 100 RBIs, 30 doubles, and an OPS in the 800s. Really, really good hit. He is also 36 years old though, so probably one-year deals here. I expect a lot of contenders to be interested. Anthony Rizzo is another big name, former Chicago first baseman on the market. Obviously had a good year with the Yankees this past season. I think more teams are going to be interested in than not. He at least has a left-handed power bat and plays relatively good defense at first base. He's still a good player. Anthony Rizzo's still got something left in him. Coming off a 32 home run season. Definitely a good year. Two guys I think are a little bit under the radar, a little bit sneaky to keep an eye out for, Josh Bell and Brandon Belt. Josh Bell looked really good at times this year, struggled a little bit in San Diego, killed the Mets in the postseason. I think a competitive team is going to be really after Josh Bell just because he does hit the ball really hard and is a good player, switch hitter as well. And Brandon Belt, if he doesn't stay in San Francisco, which feels weird, is another guy who could just have a, I don't want to say breakout season, but a eye-opening season somewhere else because we know playing in San Francisco hasn't necessarily done him any favors. There's a bunch of free agents available on the first base market. Those are the ones I feel like are the best. That's what we're doing in this video, telling you the big names you need to know. At second base, it's almost non-existent. Jean Segura has a club option. I gotta assume that the Phillies, I don't know, maybe they do or don't pick it up. Let me double check to make sure they haven't done it already. According to his Instagram, he might be leaving because he kind of thanked the city of Philadelphia for everything. If he does become available on the free agent market, I think he will be the best second baseman available. Just the absolute most consistent player in baseball, probably. Dude doesn't do anything particularly great, but he is just all around good. The next guy with a club option is going to be Colton Wong, and it's a club option of $10 million. I don't think the Brewers are going to pick this up. I just think that's probably too much money that they'd like to spend on a second baseman, but he actually had a sneaky good year. 15 homers, 20 doubles, 770 OPS, and we know he's one of the best fielding second basemen in the league. I mean, Colton Wong will be very useful on a lot of teams in Major League Baseball. And then the last guy I've noted is going to be Adam Frazier. I'm not a huge Adam Frazier guy. He hits the ball really soft, has no power. He's normally an average guy, but didn't really play that well this year. To me, Adam Frazier is more of an afterthought, a good bench depth piece for a team. That being said, there definitely is value somewhere with Adam Frazier. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he was as good as people thought last year. And by last year, I mean 2021. Wow, this season went by so quick. Here's the big position, shortstop. Outside the starting pitching market, shortstop is the most loaded. Let's just name some names. Trey Turner, Carlos Correa, Xander Bogaerts, Dansby Swanson. Tim Anderson could have been a free agent. White Sox smartly exercised his option, but you've got 4 of the 10 best shortstops on the market this year. Trey Turner, simply one of the best players in Major League Baseball. He's been healthy the last few years. His defense at shortstop is fine, it's whatever, but we know at the plate he's one of the best. He hits for average, hits for power, steals bases, and I honestly feel like with the new defense and the way the game's going to be moving next year with all these new rule changes, I think Trey Turner's going to have another MVP caliber season and be even more valuable. Carlos Correa, quietly had a really good year out in Minnesota. He's still incredibly young. What is he, like 27 years old, 28? The defense didn't look good in Minnesota, but the bat was money. He opted out. He's going to get paid. Expect a lot of teams to be in on all these guys. Xander Bogaerts, he actually improved defensively, which is huge for his game, and as you know, he rakes, although the power numbers were down this year, so something to keep an eye out for. And Dansby Swanson just had the breakout season that Braves fans have been waiting for. He played phenomenal defense. He played phenomenal offense. He's just swung the bat so well. That was the #1 pick the Braves have been waiting for. Will they pay him to bring him back, though? I don't know. Dansby Swanson's going to be highly sought after, too. Shortstop market is loaded at the top. After those guys, not much left. And then to wrap up the infield, third base is a little weak. Here are the names I picked out for you guys that I particularly liked. Justin Turner has a club option. I think the Dodgers aren't going to exercise that. He's probably going to hit the free agent market. Maybe a DH for somebody. Joey Wendell, it's a mutual option. I assume the Marlins pick it up. Why wouldn't they? But does Joey Wendell want to still be there? We'll see. Brandon Drury, I think in the right scenario, he makes sense. Good platoon guy. Put him against lefties. Get him in a hitter-friendly ballpark like we saw in Cincinnati. He can put up big numbers. And then Evan Longoria is the one I want you to keep an eye out for. His club option's about $13 million. I assume the Giants aren't going to pick that up. I don't know. That's yet to be determined. But over the last few years, he's played a total of 170 games, and in those 170, 27 homers, 30 doubles, and a 799 OPS. There is still a good player inside of Evan Longoria. You just got to keep him healthy on the field and probably treat him a little bit more like the old veteran he is. But I think Evan Longoria can be really useful to a team next year. Move into the outfield. Let's talk about left field. Nobody that I think is a showstopper, but a lot of really good left fielders available. Joey Gallo. Someone's got to take a risk on him. Andrew Benintendi, Adam Duvall, AJ Pollock, David Peralta, Jock Peterson, and Jurickson Profar are all guys that can step into a major league roster, fill in a spot, give a little offense, give a little defense, make teams better, and I expect it's weird. There's not going to be a bidding war for any of these guys because there's a plethora of them, but I think all these guys are going to find themselves interested by a lot of the same teams. They're just good players that are available, and you should want them on your team. In center field, there is one big guy, and that is Brandon Nimmo, formerly of the New York Mets. Boy, oh boy, do I hope the Mets bring him back. We obviously re-signed Edwin Diaz. Brandon Nimmo is the #1 guy I want back in New York. Yes, you heard that correctly. I think Brandon Nimmo is the most important guy for the Mets to bring back. The one concern with Nimmo, he's really only played one full season in the last 4. I mean, he technically played 55 in the 2020 season, but again, that was short. Injury is always a concern, but we saw a full year out of him, and he was a 5-win player, played phenomenal defense in center field, and finished with an OPS at 800, getting on base 36.7% of the time he gets to the plate. Power numbers went up towards the end of the year. Brandon Nimmo's so good. Mets bias, I know, but you dummies who don't believe me haven't looked at the numbers. You're the biased ones because I like the Mets. You think he's not actually that good. Truthfully, he is one of the better center fielders in the game. He's not Mike Trout, but boy, oh boy, is he a part of that next tier of great center fielders. And he's kind of the only one right now. If you want a franchise-like center fielder, Brandon Nimmo's your guy this offseason, which makes me scared because it means he's probably going to get paid. Good for him, scary for the Mets. Kevin Kiermaier's got a club option. Rays aren't picking that up. He would be your fun, I only want defense option. And then in right field, Aaron Judge. That is the guy. There are actually some other good players that I'll briefly mention right now, like Mitch Haniger, Will Myers, who has a club option, which I can't imagine they pick up, and Michael Conforto's still available. Keep an eye out on Michael Conforto. That could be an interesting guy. But we all know it's the Aaron Judge offseason, coming off a record-breaking year where he hit 62 home runs. He's gonna win the MVP. I mean, an 11-11 OPS, great defense. Aaron Judge is a franchise player. The only thing is the Yankees might not let you have a chance to get Aaron Judge. I think the Yankees are probably gonna bring him back. They should be trying to bring him back. Everybody should want Aaron Judge. It's just a matter of who's gonna fork out the most money. The dude is one of the 5 best players in Major League Baseball. It's rare you see a guy like this at free agency. He's going to be 31 next year, but all signs lead to he's going to still be an absolute incredible player. Like I said, this is the Aaron Judge offseason. It's going to be fun to see where he goes. Now, for the last offensive position, we have DH. There's some good DHs out there, but DH is a weird position where you can kind of now just put anybody there. So the fact that you are a DH hurts you a little bit because you don't have that defensive versatility. These guys don't really play the field. JD Martinez, Michael Brantley, Matt Carpenter, Andrew McCutchen, Trey Mancini, and Nelson Cruz. All guys that I think could have big impacts on teams next year, some more so than others. Michael Brantley's still going to hit, but of course, DH getting older, injuries. That's the thing that happens with him. JD Martinez did not look good last year in the second half in Boston, but he still rakes. I would imagine you got to put him in a hitter-friendly park, and he's going to do numbers. Carpenter, McCutchen, Mancini, Nelson Cruz, probably all platoon guys now, but still, show some pop in those bats. Now, on to the pitchers. I'm going to highlight like 4 or 5 and then just list off a bunch of the names because the starting pitching market is shockingly robust. Carlos Rodon might be the most slept on pitcher on the free agent market this year in terms of the top end guys. I don't know why he's not getting as much love as he deserves. It's almost like people didn't realize how good of a season he is. Like, honestly, if you're not going after Jacob deGrom, you should be putting all your money towards Carlos Rodon. Like, this past year, he threw 180 innings, had a K rate of 33%, walk rate of 7, disgusting. After last year, where he pitched 120 coming off the injuries, still was incredible. His ERA the last 2 years, 2.67. He's pitched over 300 innings the last 2 years, so he's ready to go. A whip under 1, a FIP at 2.42. He's the second best pitcher available on the market because Jacob deGrom still exists. When he's healthy, he is number 1. But I think Carlos Rodon might be the one that I would put the most attention to because, I mean, you got to have like $100 million over the next 2 years for Jacob, and that's going to be a lot. A lot of teams can't do that. Carlos Rodon, though, there should be a bidding war for him. He's so good. We'll also talk about Jacob deGrom. We know how good deGrom is. We know he's the best pitcher in baseball whenever he's healthy. That's just the thing. He needs to be healthy. There have been some injury concerns the last few years, and that is definitely the elephant in the room. But when he's healthy, he's gross. This year, 3 ERA in 64 innings, a FIP at 2.13, a whip at 0.746. I mean, he was striking out almost 50% of the batters he faced. He was absolutely disgusting. The velo was there. And since 2018, he has an ERA at 2.05 with a whip at 0.868. The numbers don't lie. Are you willing to fork out $40 to $50 million a year for a guy who's only made, what, 38 starts in the last 3 seasons? There's concerns, but boy, oh boy, Jacob deGrom is the most talented pitcher available, the best pitcher available. I really hope the Mets bring him back. I really do. I'm scared of where he could go. And that team rhymes with Catlanta Craves. Last guy I want to truly highlight is Clayton Kershaw. While you're not getting the same Clayton Kershaw that you saw during his prime, he still is going to give you about 120 innings guaranteed of really top-notch pitching. Like the last few years, he hasn't been able to get over 130 innings pitched, which is a little bit of a concern. But in 44 starts, a 2.9 ERA, a whip under 1, a FIP at 2.78, the strikeouts are decent. They're good enough. He's striking out about a third of the batters he faces, which is pretty good. He doesn't walk anybody. It's just the health with Kershaw. And I'm not gonna lie, if he leaves Los Angeles, it's just gonna be a little weird. He feels like he should be a Dodger forever. He's been there for 15 years. What do you guys think? You think he goes somewhere else? Now for the fun part. Let me list off all the other pitchers that are available. It's just a short list that I put together in 3 minutes of guys that I like based off of names only. No research. Nathan Eovaldi, Chris Bassett, Tyler Anderson, Justin Verlander, Sonny Gray, Taijuan Walker, Martin Perez, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana, Jameson Taillon, Michael Wacha, Noah Syndergaard. Like, Verlander has a player option for $25 million next year. He could exercise it. I feel like he might. He's gonna be 40. I know he just came off of a great year and he is a fine wine. He only gets better with age. Phenomenal year. Didn't look great in the postseason, but I didn't want to go deep into him just because I think there's a really good world where he's just back in Houston. But you heard all those names, a lot of really good pitchers. You have the top guys, and then you have a lot of 3, 4, 5 pitchers that will make a big impact for teams competing or help teams that are maybe right in the middle get even better. I think the pitching market's low-key loaded. For the last and final position, let's talk about relievers. The relief market is one that is not that important because you can kind of just make relievers. Big name guys that I think you should be looking at: Craig Kimbrell, even though he stunk last year. Craig Kimbrell, Kenley Jansen, Taylor Rogers, Andrew Chafin. Those would be the big name guys. And I do believe Chafin has a player option, which I think he probably will pick up. It's for $6.5 million. I mean, probably picks it up. Rafael Montero had a decent postseason. He's opened some eyes as well. But really, at the end of the day, with the relief pitching market, you're finding guys with good stuff that you hope you can mold into a position. There's not a lot of closers available. There's not a lot of those big names this year. I think Aroldis Chapman's available. Like, that's probably another big name I just forgot to mention, but he kind of stunk. If you want to hear more on what I think about the relief pitching market, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm willing to put out more of that content, but I just assume you made it this far in the video. You probably clicked off at this point if you're not interested in relievers. I'm not going to force you to listen to too much about them, even though it is a fascinating market. It's fun to just pick a guy and be like, you throw hard, now you're lights out. It's kind of what the Dodgers did with like Evan Phillips, Yency Almonte. Look at their bullpen. It's all made up guys, basically. I'd love to know who you guys think is the best free agent available on the market. You think it's deGrom? You think it's Trey Turner? You think it's Carlos Correa? You think it's Aaron Judge? Let me know who you think down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy the video, please do drop a like on it. It really does help support my channel, as well as subscribe, because a bunch of you who are watching aren't subscribed. What are you doing? Click that sub button so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content coming at you. Like I said, my predictions are coming out later this week. We're looking at Wednesday the earliest, Thursday more likely, where I predict where every free agent will land this offseason. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye!